can see right now. I'm given a little bit of notice that working, and I can see my screen, but I cannot share the screen with you. Let me know if you can hear me. And let me know if you can work with that. And also, I can't exactly see how I share my screen. G'day, Rolf. How you doing? What I might have to do is, for some reason, this screen sharing gig just doesn't want to come. It was allowing me to share the screen previously, and apparently it's not. Let me see if I can get in and my own setup, because it's a little bit embarrassing. We've got a live version going on. I can see myself in the screen, but I cannot see the I can't see the current I can't see how you screen share. Is anybody used to Facebook? This is the first time I've done Facebook Live. Let's see if we can see Rolf has said something, and it says I'm live, but I'm buggered if I know how this screen share works, because it have the ability to do a screen share in here. Give me a few seconds. This is my first time doing screen sharing. Okay, Facebook screen sharing. I believe that I can do that. Just 1 second. There is a little bit of thing that tells me what to do. I'm supposed to have a little button down. Maybe it just doesn't work. Video and broadcast. I'm going to end this broadcast and see if I can come back in. I will be back in a second. Yeah, I am recording this on YouTube as well, Rolf. Maybe what I'll do is I'll give you the YouTube link, and you can look in there and it can ask me questions in that one. So there's a couple of people in YouTube. If you want to come into Facebook as well, that will probably be the go. There is a link that does screen shares. It's just that you press the button and you say it's screen sharing, and it just gives you no other options. It's very strange. Anyway, let's have a look at this one. I'm used to the YouTube sort of stuff, but here's our disclaimer and warning. This is general advice only, and myself, AdEst, is a corporate authorized representative, AR 289519 of Alpha Securities. Alpha Securities AFSL is 330757, level 2 Pitt Street. And this is general advice, and it does not constitute financial product advice. It does not take into account your investment objectives, financial situations, or particular needs. And basically, you should look at the FSG to understand, and the PDS to discover how much risk you're taking on for each product. Cryptocurrencies are the highest velocity market that I have ever seen that is not leveraged. So they move so fast, so quickly, as you can make large amounts of money and lose large amounts of money very easily. And you can trade on a small amount and make good money if you manage it correctly. But there's a risk of loss as well as potential for profits. And if you leverage this, you might have a problem. Now, my website's profithunters.com.au, and I hope that's all good for you on that one. Okay, so what we're seeing here is, and I'll put that out to, I'll put that also into the Facebook group. That should be good. So let's, we're not going to do a Forex webinar. We're going to do cryptos. And what we saw Rolf pointed this out, that our friends at the SEC have moved to, the headline says move to stop digital coin offerings. This is one that went down the tracks, and I don't subscribe to the Wall Street Journal, and they wanted to seize cryptocurrencies held by a Rise Bank. Now, one thing that regulators need to do is to get themselves involved with making sure people don't get their money stolen from them by unscrupulous people. Now, we see that all the time in the stock market. It's just that they're wearing suits and they're usually employed by Goldman Sachs. However, what happens is that ICOs have been created so that people can have funds to create worthwhile projects in various areas in technology and the way we use the internet and the way we move money around. Some of them are genuine, some of them are full of hot air and have no clue what they're doing, and some of them are actually crooked and are just out to steal your money. The SEC is a hurdle. Getting through SEC's approval is a hurdle for a lot of share market floats or stock market floats that make sure that you actually don't have to verify everything that's said, and hopefully there's enough scrutiny. But in reality, we are never properly protected when we buy a float or when we buy a share. Management can be lying and just well dressed, and they say the right things, do the right things legally in compliance, and you still lose money. ICOs are probably higher risk. They seem to be more fun at the moment, but there are still huge risks. So let's go and have a look at this one with what we're seeing in the Wall Street Journal today from Rolf. And what we've seen is the SEC has launched a currency probe and issued about dozens of subpoenas to parties engaged in booming market for ICOs. So what we've seen is a drumbeat of regulators saying we want to regulate this, and what we've seen a lot of this is a drumbeat of institutions, the Bank of International Settlements, cryptocurrencies are a scam, but half of people underneath the age of 30 believe that cryptocurrencies are the future. And I tend to agree with them, but we will end up like a lot of, when we first invented cars, Gerhard Benz created the Mercedes-Benz and the Daimler, and then we saw other cars be created, and then eventually, I think his name was, created the ways of mass producing, and then a lot of car manufacturers were created. And with ICOs, we've seen the way of mass producing ICOs, just copying and paste some coding, copying and paste coding, and then people buy these things. There've been ones called, I think it was called Scam Coin or Ponzi Coin, that actually was created as a joke, and it received about $25,000 before the issuer took it off and said that was why did people buy this? People go crazy when there's new stuff, and people do make money in some of these things, and people will do their asses in others. So the SEC has been going through and looking at various violations, and the violation is they believe that these ways of funding a business for the creation of the business product are seen as securities. And no doubt the SEC sees it as securities, whereas ICOs dress them up as being able to use the product later, whatever that product is, and all you're doing is paying in advance for that productivity. So I seem to have moved off my currency. Yeah, I've put that into the FB group as no way to click on the app. Okay, I'll put it up there as well. I'll put that in there now, Rolf. Thanks very much for that. So this is the recording, the site. I've been stalling a bit there, so I'll put that up there like this, and I'll share it. Okay, so let's have a look at what the main cryptocurrency is. Now, Bitcoin, my theory has been that this probably started off on this recent rally, started off as an ABC retracement. Now, when you look at the yearly chart is still in uptrend, and we have seen participation from institutions, despite their jawboning that the market is bad. Now, these levels here, you'll see here, these move, unfortunately, on the screen. Where are we? 23 February, over here. These float around and they don't get attached, although there is a function on TradingView that says you can secure them, but you have to move when you widen the screen. Anyway, we've been looking for an ABC retracement after what developed into a 5-wave structure. Originally, I thought it might be a 3-wave structure to the upside. My opinion is we probably finished wave 2 of the decline, and that we're looking for into mid-March, we start to see some typically I get called when I have these things on, and we're looking for another decline to the downside on Bitcoin. We were talking about I've been talking about a retracement down to about 9,231. The low in Bitfinex was 8,208, followed by a rally up to maybe just on 11,000, but possibly as high as 11,200 before another decline. And I have a feeling we're in that decline. We've had about 3 days of rally, so we should get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of a fast decline down into hopefully into mid. Then we start to get some decisions made. Now, I've variously labeled around about the 7,200 area as being the target. Potential really best seen down around about 8,200, but I would imagine it will go further than I think. Bitcoin does like to do that. It likes to go a bit further. And what we've seen is Bitcoin futures. What we see is professional money coming in higher volume. My belief is that this year, with all the jawboning from the Bank of International Settlements and all that sort of stuff, that the volume is that the institutions who've missed out on getting involved in the crypto space have been working their mouths to get it lower. And in that way, they call it a crash coming. The Goldman CIO, Chief Investment Officer of Goldman Sachs, was saying recently, I think last night, that a crypto crash would create a 1 increase in GDP. I have no idea where he pulled that out of his bottom, but they're trying to work it down. If you learn nothing from what I say today, it is 80% of the time, if you do the opposite of what Goldman Sachs announces publicly, you will make money. Almost 80% is the hit rate. If you go opposite Goldman Sachs, you're in much better chance of making money than if you go with them. So now the Bitcoin futures is the purvey of where professional Eurodollar futures and bond futures, I would be in there with large amounts of my fund manager's money and my Macquarie Bank's money, where I used to trade for, and I would be doing that because I can do it on margin. Now, the margins on Bitcoin futures, BTC, are not that great. In other words, you don't have super high leverage, but you have better leverage, and you're not using all of the banks or the fund's money using it. You don't have to transfer a lot of cash around. So when I'm looking at futures contracts, I'm looking at the professionals doing this, and we can see that Bitcoin versus Bitcoin futures gives a different result on volume. We saw some good volume on this rally. We've seen a decline in volume on the way down, and at the moment, when it's starting to roll over, we're not seeing above average on the way back down. Now, I believe it's hit the level, and it probably comes back down, as I said, in a retracement area. So my major gameplay in doing this, there we go. I've pasted in there. My major gameplay is to make sure we're getting with the institutions and getting with the professionals, because a lot of little fellas, they sold out on the highs. The young fellas who've been involved for this a while, bank their cash, which is a great idea. This is the Bitcoin futures. This is where the institutions got in and they slammed it down. That's in the futures. This is Bitcoin Core or Bitcoin Cash, whatever you want to call it. This is a monthly chart of, sorry, that was Bitcoin Cash. You can see here strong buying by the general public, and then the general public got screwed, which is generally what they have to do. We've seen a 70% retracement. That's not a normal retracement. It is mathematically correct if you follow sacred geometry. Now, we've seen a big doji on the weekly chart, and then it's rallied for a couple of weeks. At the moment, I don't think you have to rush out and buy Bitcoin. And what I've been saying to people is don't buy the ICOs, don't buy the second tier cryptocurrencies if you think they're cryptocurrencies. Things like Litecoin, probably a little bit better than other ones, Ethereum a little bit better, but you want to be sticking in the main region if you're going to be trading these. We've seen a decline on, sorry about this stuff, I wish it was programmed better, this software. We have got better ones. But I tend to write these as I'm going for people. So the ABC pattern should mean that we'll finally get clear of things, but we will not see the ICOs moving until Bitcoin's had a good move after its bottom. There will be a few flyers, believe me, there will be some. We might miss out on those, but at least we won't be covering the risks as there are. So what I want you to do, I'll play with this, and I want questions about the currencies. Now, I've actually got the screen where I can see where your questions are, I believe, and it should be in the Facebook Live area. And we're picking up, we're looking at Bitcoin. If you ask me questions about other ones, I've just covered that for you. Now, Bitcoin Cash has been performing very badly, and I've been disparaging it. It may be in the top echelon, but for some reason it just is not great. We're seeing probably another new low in Bitcoin Cash when Bitcoin only makes a retracement low, and it's been chronically underperforming. Bitcoin Gold has been, over the last couple of days, it did provide us with a belief that it was stronger than Bitcoin Cash again. So it's probably going to be new lows. It's not well constructed, and anybody can mine it as long as they've stolen a few computers, as far as I can see. You just need some old graphics cards and away you go. So we see a descending, kind of a this, and I wouldn't be with data. So we're probably getting new lows in non-hardcore Bitcoin cryptos. EOS has been disappointing. We used to have a target of $47. That's kind of a remnant up there. I still think it may do that, but it certainly needs a little bit more of a rocket. Probably can get down to about $7.61 on that. Now, let's have a look at Ethereum. Now, Ethereum has been holding, but again, it's just breaking a bit of trend at the moment, a bit of a weak up pattern. You can see it's a bit wedgy on there, so you probably don't want to be in love with Ethereum. And what we'd say is an ABC probably back into around about the 700 region on there. Happy to take questions if you want to post that up on the site there. And I want to see if there's questions below there, how this is working. Okay. Now, Rolf, did you have an IDOs that were affected? I looked in that article. I really couldn't see anything that gave me a good clue about which ICOs were taken with to a stick to, and that's the announcement coming up there. There is a little bit more better news coming out in these ones, but notice Ethereum is consistently underperforming what Bitcoin's doing. So any positions I take are really in Bitcoin at the moment and a bit of Litecoin. Litecoin itself, we see a 5-wave structure in the upside. We see it did have a bit of a rally on a bit of increasing volume, and so far Litecoin probably can still go to about 170, but it'll have trouble going much further. It's been a little bit stronger than Bitcoin even. IOTA has been getting a little bit of good airplay. We can see a bit of volume going in there. So it's probably best on buying a break above, probably above $2.20. I think you have to give it more clearance than I'd normally give because of this old top went up there. So at the moment, IOTA is better than I've been thinking. NEO is one that I have been liking. It seems to have gotten a little bit hit today. You'll notice there's a whole lot of ABC confusion about it. We're seeing okay volume on the upside, so it really needs a close above $144 for it to be useful. Power BTC, it looks like it's in the end stage at the moment. We've got this little fourth wave pattern here, and so if it can pop above 0.00006 parts per Bitcoin, it's healthy. Monero, we are seeing it's still reasonably strong. It's had a good move up and we're washing around. Maybe another leg down into the 220 to 240 area before it finds itself. So at the moment, I'm not getting getting a big push in the cryptos. The SEC is a little bit scary for them. The more marginal ICOs, I'm happy to take questions on those ones. Ripple itself has some moments, and then I quite don't understand what Ripple really does during the payment system. It seems that the banks are going to be buying some Ripple if they're going to exchange, if they're going to send some money to Buenos Aires or something like that, and then the Buenos Aires correspondent bank is going to give Argentinian pesos, I guess they are, and then they sell their Ripple. So Ripple can be due to be some large rallies, and if that's the case, and the market's illiquid until it becomes, until it becomes a proper payment system. In terms of the SEC, the Zcash, what we see is one thing that I want to share with you is when you see something that has been created like this, that existed up this high, if this data is correct that we have on TradingView, if this was up there, let's just even say that, its high was around about 1700, which appears to be the next monthly bar. Something is very corrupt with this one. So the corruption is an issue for me. It's floated and pumped and dumped, and it always destroys my charts. So I don't really like Zcash, but if you're thinking about it, it's probably just trading in a range, sell highs, buy low, sell rallies, buy dips. It's not going to be like the share. It's not going to be a fantastic one. Now, DigiByte, I had a couple of questions about DigiByte from PHG members, and DigiByte is against the dollar. Let's have a look at it. I think it's been around since about 2015. Yep. Oh my God. And we see it spike. Notice it's fallen on declining volume, even with the big spike, and it's hung around this top. So DigiByte has a good chance it's come back into its base, almost what it did last time it had a dip, come back into its base, expecting 17 or 18 cents on the top side for DigiByte. Stop loss would need to be lurking below 0.8 of a cent. Some of the other ones, Verge, which was a very big pump and dump action. I believe John McAfee, or whatever his name is, was involved in that. We do see also volume has come back. Now, if you talk to most people who are crypto or were into cryptos, their bottoms are so hurt that they're not wanting to come back, and that's why they're missing out on the next low. The next decline is the one to buy. And we're seeing here with Verge, if it is worth anything, it's starting to show a bit of revival. And I never expect these to be worth anything until proven otherwise. They are trading vehicles, not investing. Work it, makes, and if you don't make any money out of it and doesn't work, get rid of it as quickly as you can recognize it's a problem and move on to the next thing that might be. So this is a good market in that really came back down to within the range of these two big up bars. So it's okay, and clearing through 10 cents, fantastic. At the moment, just milling around, probably tries a test of those old lows. OMG, which is Omisigo, within the pitchfork. Sometimes I like to use pitchforks clearly, and you can see that it probably is badly drawn right now. I don't know what the story is there with that little spike, but that's where it should be now. And what we're seeing is it's holding. So the general trend is up for Omisigo. Your weekly chart is pretty ripe, and stop should be at 12 bucks. You could also have a stop at 14. So OMG is okay. What about a cryptic crypto like ENG? And some of this lack of volume could be the fact that people are hardy for cryptos, but this is just something to look for on a trend line break. And we're looking on the weekly charts here. So break above 0.0003 parts per Bitcoin. And if that works, you're looking towards 0.0004 parts per Bitcoin. And you need a stop loss below 0.0021 parts per Bitcoin. Other coins, ICOs, Red Coin. Now, this is one I do like. I do like the way that it's come back, had a few retests, and had some good volume on the break up. So as a sneaky buy, you might buy a break above 0.00000113 parts per Bitcoin and look for a rally up to 0.00000014 parts per Bitcoin. Some people say Satoshi's. I'd rather think parts per Bitcoin, because further out some of these. Now, Tron, another classic pumped one that has come back pretty well on declining volume, as you can see that. So there's some good things inside Tron. Happy to think about that later. Notice here, Quantum come back to the base. That's a healthy thing, and I wish these things would, this charting package would be a bit better. Back to the base. Maybe there's a retest to $20. Notice it's a $20 one, or that's it's a sign. They're like little small market caps, but they're much more riskier below certain dollar levels or below certain cents levels. Again, Stellar, something that has consistently probably just wafted around in this decline. It's probably better than most. And notice it's hops. When we bought Bitcoin at 6,000, it was because it was hanging around the old top at 6,189. When we bought that day of the low, it was, and I bought there and my customers bought there for the cryptocurrency report people. That was exactly because it was on the right area there. And also it had done a nice retrace. Let's have a look at Stellar versus Bitcoin. In terms of Bitcoin, it's also sitting on some old tops as well. And notice you've got a bit more data in terms of Stellar versus Bitcoin and volume declining. And that's basis Poloniex. I'm not sure whether I announced that properly. Now, Stellar used to be called SDR. Then they changed it to XLM. So effectively, you should see the same thing. You'll notice that Bittrex uses XLM code and Poloniex uses the other one. So just to confuse you. What we're seeing here on SRX, ZRX, and I don't know why it's called 0x, but anyway, for its code. A little bit nastier and still probably has more to go to test that old top down here from when it was floated. So its initial offering. 4 zeros and a 6 is where it should probably land at. Now, sub BTC, substratum. Again, probably needs a bit more, down to 4 zeros and a 4 on the end there. Salt, and this is something Mr. Cliffy High likes to talk about. Salt, Veritasium, and I think there's another one with a P, Populous. And I don't follow them, but I thought I'd throw in a bit of torturing myself with these charts. Unfortunately, my normal charting package, I get the ICOs on. Let's see if I can do scale. Reset chart. That's just terrible. Muriel, I've got to get rid of this one. See if I can reset chart. Well, that doesn't work. There we go. Now, it's been, dare I say it, tragic, and probably deserves to visit 0.0035 parts per Bitcoin. Let's see if we've got Populous. Let's see this Populous one. Sometimes I do this for my own benefit, quite often, and entertainment. So Populous. Populous is traded against BTC. So we've got here Populous. I'll get rid of that because it's irrelevant to my life. And it's just been falling down the dunny for a while. Let's see if we can find any reasons. Now, I don't know what these spikes are and how they were created. You probably still think it might go down to 0.001 parts per Bitcoin. The other one which Cliff likes is Veritasium. It's got $1. I think it's against the US dollar price, so that's good. Doesn't look that well traded on Hit BTC, which is just shit exchange as far as I can see, and it really hasn't been doing anything much. We might see if it trades more against Bitcoin, get more volatility. Don't like the fact that it's intercepted that old top. Best thing would be down towards about 150. Now, this is one that is over the $1 mark for the price in US dollars. So it has a bit of a tick, but it lacks liquidity basis, the one that I'm seeing. So let's see if we can redeem its liquidity in Veritasium BTC. Still not giving me any cause for an excited hug. A break above 30 cents is, sorry, 0.03 Bitcoin is probably okay, and you're probably going to visit down towards 0.0159 parts per Bitcoin. Now, I can't see any other questions, but I'll carry through with a couple of PHG members and cryptocurrency report subscribers like to ask me about. We can see Funfair after we did have a bit of a buying fest, and it rallied some 50%. I believe this has been promoted by a chap in Adelaide. We see a triangle. We see this horrible little pattern here. Probably I'd expect a retest of this low if we get another strong down leg in Bitcoin. So I wouldn't be getting involved in that unless it maybe closed above 0.06 cents. AION sounds like an insurance company. Also some against Bitcoin. I don't mind this if it cracks through around about 0.0003 parts per Bitcoin. CPC, Capricorn, forming a little bit better of a bottom than I'd seen in other ones. A nice long sideways movement. So if it crosses through really above 0.62 cents, 62 cents, then buy it with the stop loss below 42 cents, looking for up towards $1.21. Etc. coin, Ethereum Classic. Now notice this is behaving a little bit like Ethereum, but the volume is wrong. So I don't normally look at that. I don't know how to make it, but we really never really chart it. In terms of volume, I don't know how much it does. These volumes are a little bit cryptic in what they do. 193,000 on Poloniex. Oh, it's not bad, but it probably needs a leg into about the 0.0029 cents. VBTC, and this is going to be a bit tragic, so just bear with me. I'm going to go down to the 4-hour chart. And this may well be reaching the end of its move down. It's struggling. I'd get pretty excited about this on a break above, looks like 0.00000006 per Bitcoin. Top would be easily just go for 0.0000000619 parts per Bitcoin. VE chain, and now this is, it got hammered in volume there, and that's the 4-hour chart. So I want to have a look at the dailies first. Problem with a lot of these coins is they haven't existed for long enough to get a really proper weekly chart. And my advice to you is, if you are trading these things, to get a good weekly chart in front of you before you really spend a lot of money in it. Again, this one, while it's had that rally, probably looks down towards the fib around about that 0.000328 parts per Bitcoin, if that's Bitcoin. ZRX, getting a bit of a hit on, and it probably goes down to new lows, down below 0.660 cents. Cardano, I explained to Robbie, who was doing some charting, that at best that this would be ABC, and Cardano has done a lot of ABCs around. It's not to be trusted, particularly at the moment, for a huge move up. All you see is ABC. All I see is ABCs on the moves. Kind of what my theory is. We're just doing an A, coming back for a B. This B may slob off a little bit. This C may not be finished yet. Notice the volume last week and the heaviness this week. So not a fan of Cardano. Sia coin. And this is the weekly chart, so there's a bit of volume. Not good below 0.0000. Is that 5? That's 5 parts per Bitcoin. 1.7. And then you'd be thinking about looks like 6 Bitcoin, 6.6 zeros part per Bitcoin, down into that old base. Populous, I think that was. I think we covered a lot of those. Thanks for hanging around, and sorry that I couldn't get it straight on the screen in Facebook. I now do have those. I do have that little plug-in for Chrome for Facebook sharing screens. I'll play with that before I do my next Facebook Live. I have egg on my face. Luckily, I'm better at charting and trading markets and calling markets than what I am with these stupid computers and probably ICOs. But the ICOs time will come. That will be after March. We are expecting mid-March in the Bitcoin, and that'll be the time to pick it up. Is it at 2,000? Well, that would be a 90% decline from its high in 19,800 or thereabouts. Some people have been saying that. I don't think that's happening. I think the institutions are accumulating now, and when they are telling you bad news, falls and collapses, panic in before they get it. Okay, see everybody. Have a good one. Oh, and if you're keen, look me up on profithunters.com.au, and I'll give you a $1 trial for the month if you're into it, and you can see what I do all the time. Well, maybe you can see here. Can we claim the Bitcoin prices? These are the sort of posts that I do. I'll run through that if you like. Well, I'll do that because I want to show you what I do. Basically, this is where it was up on the Aussie. I've been playing around with the Aussie, and that was yesterday about 4 o'clock, and I got filled on some targets up on just above 14,000. And this is the chart. I keep the chart up and I tell you what I'm thinking, and people ask me questions and I answer them. So here, can we claim a high? And that was in response to the fact that it started to peel off from there and it's dropping. So I'm keeping a monitor on these cryptos pretty well 24 hours, not 24 hours a day, but 7 days a week, 16 hours a day. So this is, we got a claim, and I got one of the PHG members has put in a statement saying, she'd say it's yes, she's always trading what I'm saying, and you can see it's popped and we're keeping track. And this is the Bitcoin Aussie price. It's not as good. I've asked TradingView to have a Bitcoin Aussie price in there so we could actually get it. They've got all Bitcoin other things. So I'll claim getting the top. We were talking about 11,000. Thanks, everybody, and have a good one. Cheers. Enjoy. Bye. Have a good weekend.